Good morning. Time for a quick video update of the garden. Saturday, late July. Gorgeous morning. Kind of humid, a little warm, not terribly hot. We've had a terrible tropical stretch of rain and humidity for a week. But this is my favorite time to come down to the garden and look around. So, pears coming along really well. A lot of them on the tree, but clearly something's been at them. Yesterday, hold on. Let's take a look. You can see there's one in the ground half eaten. So I don't know if it's a squirrel or what the heck, but this thing is absolutely loaded. There are fewer now than there were, so they've been taking them away. Here's the patch of sunflowers coming along. Big group of sunflowers this year. It's going to be magnificent to see. And clearly the pollinators, the bees, and they'll like it, but one of my favorites is when they come into seed and you see all the songbirds pick them out and start eating them. The goldfinches and chickadees and everything else. Nice little patch of zinnia here. Haven't seen any hummingbirds, but I'm hanging around doing the video this morning, and I hope I see a hummingbird down here. I've seen some butterflies, so that's been good. But these zinnias are nice. These are the giant sunflowers, over 6 feet tall. In the background over there, that's the Romas. I'm expecting just a boatload of plum tomatoes. There's a pretty good grouping there. Good grouping back there. This is going to have just a bunch of them. Notice all the stakes and how close together. I'm tying these up differently. Rather than tie each individual stem to a particular stake, I've got a little twine jute that runs the entire length, and I sort of basket weaved it in and out of those stakes. And probably should do it again tomorrow because they're getting a little taller, and that's why they look pretty good like that. Here we are at pretty good looking figs over there. So a lot of figs coming along. Most of my plants have good figs. Little mixture down there in a pot of carrots and green onions. Nice. More basil than we need to eat. Some really good figs there. So this is my second compost pile. I've been building this compost pile for a couple of years with a lot of woody stuff, and I don't know how much soil. There's not a lot of soil in here, but I finally gave it a shot. Last year, some stuff grew out of the compost, some tomato plants, and so I figured there was enough. And those are pumpkins. I think these are field pumpkins. So there's plenty of soil in there so far, at least. Nope, I just saw a hummingbird. Let me see if I can get it on video. He's at the zinnias. Let me zoom in. Oh, he just took off. All right, I'll be on the lookout for that hummingbird again, and hopefully we can get him on video. So more figs. Here is, so this spring I was, frankly, I was more disorganized than many. I was going to cut back on my garden, and I did. I planted a lot of sunflowers where I usually have stuff. But here's my butternut squash patch, which I'm very proud of. The last however many years, that's all grown in compost, deep compost, and it's a big mound. I've been able to grow enough butternut squash to basically feed the whole family and anybody who wants some till February or March in the wintertime. Now, look at the size of some of these leaves. See that leaf right there? That's not a butternut squash. I'll show you a butternut squash to contrast that. These are butternut squash leaves. So it's clear that I mixed up this bed. I see a lot of butternut squash leaves, but I also see a lot of pumpkin leaves in here. It may be good, maybe we'll get some more pumpkins. Not that we really do anything with pumpkins other than Halloween and then compost them, but even so, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't, because it'll cut into the butternut squash harvest. Anyway, so much for being a little disorganized. Here we see some pollinator working that's not a honeybee. Interesting how many different types of, now that one was a honeybee. That one that just went in and out. It's amazing how many different types of pollinators there are. As a beekeeper, I think always about honeybees. Now there's a honeybee in there. That's a honeybee, and then in the bottom is a cucumber beetle, which is a pest. It transfers pathogens and wilt, but that is a honeybee. Okay, let's keep going. Nice, really nice, healthy, well-watered. Did I tell you it rained for an entire week? Patch of yellow squash and zucchini squash. But we picked one zucchini so far, and despite these magnificent plants, big and healthy, hold it. All right. That's another one. Going to pick that this morning. We'll have that this weekend. Perfect size. But beyond that, there aren't a whole lot of fruit set yet. I expect this week we'll have an abundance. Though I've read in the past that sometimes you can get plants that produce all male flowers. So, whatever. Always something. So I've had some deer problems this year. Now, I've never really had deer problems down here. I know there's always been deer around, but they've never really eaten all that much. And, my philosophy has always been plant more than you need, and if you lose some to pests, no big deal. But here's a very clear deer footprint. As you can see, he or she was passing through. There's where he went out, but clearly ate a little Swiss chard, ate a little more Swiss chard, had a little problem getting that Swiss chard cranked up. Bees are flying. Actually, to my surprise, they're bringing in decent pollen this morning. So that could be good. That's sort of encouraging. That might mean that, I'm sort of figuring that if there's pollen coming in, there has to be nectar coming in. And that must mean we're not at the dearth yet. And so the honey stores should continue to be growing. I'll go take a close-up in a little bit. All right, just some miscellaneous pots here. Surplus peppers, although some pretty nice peppers. I shouldn't dismiss them as just surplus. A couple of rows of beets over here. Before I leave this morning, I'm going to pick half a dozen beets for the weekend. I've got some really good big ones in there. The sooner I take them out, the sooner the adjacent beets will grow bigger as well. Hope you can see this pot. Look at those. Lots of peppers coming. Some peppers in the back there. This is gonna be a magnificent crop of, I think they're Hungarian. Not 100% sure. Some good peppers coming here. So we got peppers up the gum stump in short order. We've got a beautiful group. Look at those three. There's one bell pepper down there, a little smaller. But look at those three big bell peppers just waiting to be picked. I should probably pick one sooner, let the others get bigger. And some good looking, small but good looking long hots coming along. Oh, raspberry patch. Um, Coming along, I see plenty of raspberries starting to get. The plants look kind of beat up because of all the rain. They don't look quite as perfect as you'd like to see them when they start to produce, but nevertheless, plenty of raspberries coming along. Kind of messy over here. I've got to tie up some. I have to tie up a few things, which is what I'm down here for. But all in all, pretty good, despite a little messy. You can see nice start to cherry peppers, or I should say start. Those are pickable. Those are eatable, edible, eatable. They're good to eat. They're ready to pick. Cucumbers. So I planted some cucumbers in and among the peppers. I had no place to put them. I had them. We like cucumbers. Oh, there's the hummingbird again. There are 2 hummingbirds. 3 hummingbirds. Whoa. Okay, so I'm gonna move away from the garden a little bit and just stand. Well, no, I'll do that afterward. Let's come back. Okay, so I planted the cucumbers in and amongst the peppers as a space saver. I think I just made a mess. Clearly this pepper with this pepper here, or I'm sorry, this cucumber here is shading this pepper a lot, not a little. Not so much on that cuke. That one died because the cucumber beetle must have passed a wilt onto it or something. But I don't know what to do about the darn cukes. We like them. You know, I've got enough peppers. Maybe if they shade 1 or 2, it's not a big deal. Whatever. So you can see nice big healthy pepper plants. You can see some nice, these are Cubanelles coming in the background there. And you can see a nice planting of Cubanelle there, surrounded by some cucumbers, of course. Cubanelles may be the most prolific right now in terms of set peppers, but you know, I've got a bunch of different kinds. They should all get cranking very soon. Some more zinnia. They were just extra zinnias that I planted back here. Perennials look great. Now these are probably going to move up to the house, but you know, I've got some nice sort of purple coneflower. That white in the background is phlox. The bee balm is clearly past peak. Black-eyed Susan, and then or Rudbeckia, I think it's called. Some nice grasses. So all in all, pretty good stuff. One you can see in the foreground, one of the tomato plants fell down. I'm gonna have to get another stake and pick that up. So got to tie up some tomatoes and a little bit like that. All right, I'm going to finish the garden. So a great bunch of beans here. These are they're growing great. I've done a nice job to keep them moist during the drought, and then we had all that rain. I don't want to touch them because they're really susceptible to you know, fungus and disease when they're wet, but I expect I'll pick green beans Sunday if they stay dry, and should have green beans, you know, for quite a while, because you can see on the left here, they're big and they're in bloom and ready to go. These are smaller, although you'll notice these are in bloom as well. So even though I planted the right half of this bed maybe, I don't know, maybe as much as 2 weeks later than the left side, they appear to have pretty much caught up. So, whatever. Okay. These are Cubanelles. You can see these 2 are shaded a lot by that sunflower. I'm going to come back to the sunflower in a minute, but that sunflower there is a volunteer. I debated all season to cut it down. You know, it's clearly those 2 are much smaller. You know, in fact, all 4 of those are much smaller compared to, for example, that one. And that's because of the shade that sunflower casts. If I knew it was going to dwarf 4 of them, I probably would have cut it down. Maybe I still will.